The United Kingdom's Terrorism Act 2000 draws a bright, uncompromising line. If a group is proscribed, its members, promoters, and public supporters can be prosecuted. That principle applies to the Palestine Action Group, but it should also apply to the Kurdistan Workers' Party, the PKK, which has also been formally banned in Britain since March 2001. This is not some obscure entry in a dusty Home Office manual. It's a clear, criminally enforceable prohibition. And yet, when it comes to enforcement, there's an uncomfortable pattern. Some proscribed groups are treated one way, others another, and the police response appears anything but consistent. The PKK's proscription under the Terrorism Act means that belonging to the organisation is a criminal offence, inviting support for it, even indirectly, is a criminal offence, displaying its flag or symbols in a manner that suggests support is a criminal offence. It's worth noting that these rules also apply to the Palestine Action Group, as we've seen on successive Saturdays recently, with people getting arrested. In principle, the legal bar for arrest is the same: clear public expression of support. Now, if you go back to April 2022, London saw a rally where Kurdish protesters targeted the visiting Prime Minister of the Kurdistan region of Iraq, Masroor Barzani. Eggs were thrown at his convoy, slogans were shouted, and placards were visible. The political content of the protest clearly referenced grievances associated with the PKK cause, though the organisers didn't formally bill it as a PKK demonstration. And here's the sticking point: there were no arrests under the Terrorism Act, not one. The incident barely touched the British press cycle, and the police took no action on prescription grounds, although people were carrying cardboard placards signalling support for the PKK, a proscribed organisation under the terrorism legislation of 2000. Fast forward to 2025, and over 500 people were arrested on a single day in London for carrying placards with a simple two-sentence phrase expressing solidarity with Palestine. No fireworks, no eggs, no targeted harassment of a visiting dignitary. Just words on cardboard. The police justification: Palestine action is prescribed under the Terrorism Act, and therefore any public expression of solidarity is an offence. It's here that the disparity becomes too obvious to ignore. The PKK is not only proscribed, it has been so for over 2 decades, and the UK's close counter-terrorism partnership with Turkey has long made the PKK a priority target for intelligence monitoring. Yet, in 2022, no action. In 2025, however, hundreds of elderly and middle-aged demonstrators are rounded up for standing in Parliament Square with slogans. If the law is to have any credibility, it cannot be applied selectively according to political convenience, foreign policy priorities, or the media mood of the moment. Yvette Cooper must now answer a simple but unavoidable question. What is the simple support for one prescribed group treated as an immediate arrestable offence, while visible confrontational protest activity connected to other groups receives no comparable policing response? Is the difference about evidence? Is the difference about the interpretation of support? Or is it about political optics, the calculation that cracking down on Palestine action will draw applause from certain quarters, whereas intervening in Kurdish politics on British soil would risk diplomatic embarrassment or inflame a politically sympathetic diaspora? The Terrorism Act 2000 was drafted to be sweeping and impartial, but laws, like tools, are only as even-handed as the people wielding them. If the Act being applied is done so in a way that reflects government priorities rather than objective legal thresholds, we're not just looking at inconsistent policing, we're looking at the politicization of anti-terror legislation. We're looking at what I suppose the BBC is always trying to talk about: bias. The PKK's ban remains on the Home Office list. Palestine Action's name has only just been added. Both are bound by the same legal consequences, yet the streets of London in 2022 tell one story, while the streets of London in 2025 tell quite a different story. Under this Home Secretary, there's no explanation, and until she explains precisely why the response has shifted so dramatically, suspicion will remain that this is not about law at all, it's about politics. And that suspicion, if left unaddressed, will corrode public trust far faster than any act of protest.